Excellent.
All right, we are recording. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the new video and the stream. Thank you so much to Twitch chat for discussing this along with us. Today we will be covering two things. Faf, I'll let you explain what we'll be covering.
The first thing we're going to be covering is kind of a continuation of our previous video because Gumi has released two updates to the DBB system that I feel are notable enough that they should at least be mentioned. Although I know that we briefly alluded to it in the previous video, today was the first day that we got a big update for it,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like people are going to want to know how that stacks down, because I know we said before that DBB was kind of something that you couldn't really do consistently in any way, shape, or form, but now it might actually be possible and maybe plausible for
I have
some.
tested it a few times, and I'd call it very plausible, even in its current state, which we will get to later.
I haven't been able to test it because whenever I try and test it, my training dummy dies.
Yeah.
So
Well, I did give it a try while soloing some water raids, or fire using a water team, and it was interesting. Um, I feel like we can get right into this dev diary, if you're all right with that.
let's start with the thing that they implemented before the dev diary.
Okay.
So last week they pushed out an update to make it easier to get to DBB. They made it so that on every single turn, the first time one of your units uses their UBB that turn, regardless of whether or not they actually have a bonded pair or even DBB capable, it will grant you one synergy crystal.
Mm-hmm.
This is added to all UBBs in the game, but it
Yep.
only triggers on the first time that a unit uses their UBB in that turn. So you can't IUBB or something and get 10 synergy crystals and then go nuts. You have to use multiple different units UBBs.
Yeah. Um, Recast doesn't do anything, all that stuff, as
Yeah.
well as extra action. Yeah, so that made it a lot more viable, especially in terms of dichroma. It's still hard to get it off in dichroma because Fury does flee. Usually, unless you're in a very efficient team, before you get the chance to fire the DBB, and I know a lot of people die beforehand. However, I have had the chance to get a couple of Q-Tong Saranya DBBs off after looping Q-Tong and Hakuzo UBBs, and it's extremely solid. I mean, the buffs that it gives aren't very substantial seeming when it comes to light phase. But if he's in dark phase, you nuke him. You hit him a lot harder. Especially, I have not been able to pull this off because I'm not lucky enough to have a 72 forms yet, or, just RNG the shit out of Fury, but I have not survived Black Death and made it to turn 12 where he drops his mitigation, but I believe that you can absolutely wallop on him with a DBB up, UBB buffs, SBB buffs, and then full SBB from Chizurus. I think you could absolutely destroy him, but I have yet to test this.
I've been past turn 12 a couple times because I have a team that can relatively consistently get there. But you definitely do deal a lot more damage in that form. Though granted, I didn't survive for very long after that because Fury had a habit of taking advantage of you relying on any one tactic too much by just wiping it constantly.
Yeah.
I'm not
Frustrating.
entirely certain as to why they decided to do this, but I can think of one or two ideas.
Yeah.
I will say that one of the DBBs that we will discuss might help a little bit, but at least in dealing with dichroma, that's one of the new ones.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
we'll get.
But yeah, so that UBB usage giving a synergy shard definitely increases the viability of DBB, infinitely more than it was before, in which you had to sacrifice damage and survivability previously.
Yeah, now you can just sort of go at it normally, and instead of just really using fancy tricks, you can just kind of slide by. You can get DBB if you're combining the fancy tricks and the fact that you can UBB now by it.
Yeah, definitely.
Like turn 4 ish,
yeah,
you'll
you
be
can.
able to DBB. You get it pretty fast, is the point.
Yeah, I totally get you. That definitely, I don't know, I feel like while on the one hand I commend Gumi for updating this, I am still a little bit frustrated that they released it in the state that they did.
Oh, yeah. No.
It still breeds frustration, but I am pleased at the fact that they are working to update it.
Right. I think that maybe, I doubt they watched our podcast specifically.
Highly doubt it.
I think that they did hear that DBB was not, or maybe they could see that DBB was not really being used.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, I guess we'll see. I feel like a lot of that may have spawned from the bond event that they did too, when they realized how few people were bonding, because it really just was so meh. It was mediocre, and that might have been an indicator to them as well. Regardless, I'm glad that they updated it.
Yeah.
So I think now that we've covered that update and, the previous, we gave a little recap, we can now get into the Dual Brave Burst Progression, which is the new piece that they've released.
Yes.
So I guess I'll start us off, if that's all right.
Yeah, that works.
So we already know a lot about DBBs, and we covered that in our first video. So if you're interested in that, you can head back to the first video in the Two Fools series and check that out, because it is, in my opinion, one of our best videos, especially because of that thumbnail. Regardless, we covered that in there, so we're going to skip past a lot of this right here. But we get to the point now where we're talking about bond levels. And bond levels are a new piece of content that Gumi has released that essentially allows you to, like a BB, SBB, not so much a UBB, but like a BB and SBB, you get to level it up, right? So currently the level cap is 4, and with each level, it increases the usefulness, viability, and power of that DBB, right? So at level 1, it's just you've used a golem on it, right? You've fused one golem into it. At level 2, you begin to see better usage. So you get the synergy effectiveness increase at level 2, bond level 2, which then requires 2 level 1 golems. That's the cost of this, right? So it also costs... it costs 1.5 million Zell and 500,000 Karma. Then you start to get where it gets a more significant improvement. Bond level 3, where it costs 3 level 1 golems, 2 million Zell, and 750,000 Karma, which I think is actually relatively low. That's cheaper than an Omni. I like that. Synergy effectiveness increased again, so maybe, that DOT, or in, Giselle's case, the healing efficacy reduction. That effectiveness increases, as well as the DBB effects duration increased by 1 turn. So I believe most of them last for 3 turns, unless explicitly stated otherwise. So they now last 4 turns, which is quite excellent in the terms of Q-Tong, Sero, Anya DBB. If you're somehow something is surviving that long against Monolight, for example, Fury, that synergy effectiveness and the DBB effect duration increased by 1 turn is going to be really nice for that extra damage, that extra survivability. Then we get to level 4, where the big updates start coming out. The big improvements. The first one is that we get a synergy shard cost reduction of 1. So now you can fire a DBB at level 4 for 6 synergy shards, as well as unlocking our newest upgrade to the Bonded Brave Burst. We now get the Bonded Super Brave Burst, which essentially means that you can use the unit that... So if you have Sovenar, you can use its bonded unit. Serenthis, you can use their SBB, which I think, in some cases might not be useful, but in a lot of cases is. Let's say you're running a team where you have a couple of dead units and a Serenthis or a Sovenar and Overdrive, and for some reason you're not gonna UBB with that. You could theoretically use a Serenthis SBB in order to try to revive some of your units. which is really good because now you can actually, Qtong, for example, has revive chance now if for some reason you don't 0 BC her, stuff like that. So it kind of brings different aspects of viability and trade-off to that overdrive in the first place, which I like because it, in the future could shift a very niche meta towards making things that were previously nukers now more utilitarian. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I've got some comments, but I'll save them for when you're finished.
The last part of the DBB progression table is that we now have the Golem level 2. The Golem level 2, it gets to it later, but essentially it's just an evolved form of a level 1 Golem. So when you go buy a Water Golem from the Raid Bazaar, you can then evolve it into a Golem level 2, and it is required to get to Bond level 4. And then now, Fafnir, you can take it away.
All right. So I think I've always viewed DBB as an interesting mechanic. I do have quite a few things to say about this update in terms of bond level. The first thing I'm going to note is that I feel like the cost, maybe not in Zell and Karma, but in Golems, at least right now, is prohibitively expensive in terms of what you'll be able to do with it. Because there are a very limited amount of golems that you can actually get right now.
Yeah.
So asking someone to combine 2, 3, and then essentially 6 for a level 4, so that's what? 11 total, counting the one at base 12. So you're looking at 12 golems here.
Can you even get that many golems without spending insignias?
I think you have to spend insignias at that point.
Oh, okay. That's frustrating.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
I think that this is going to be very difficult for people to get access to eventually. Now, they may increase the number of golems we can receive. I can think of a few ways that they could make them easily accessible. They could, of course, put them in the Merit Hall. I think they could easily put these in the Omni Arcanum Bazaar, and which automatically refreshes every month, and would give you Zell and Karma as well, so you could kind of feed into the Omni Arcanum does everything, and just get everything from there.
Yeah.
I feel like the upgrades are pretty substantial. You could put them in a dungeon. I feel like if they put them in a dungeon, then it would be sort of like a release Elgift situation, though, where they would try and have to make them difficult, and then we would just nuke over it anyway. So
yeah,
essentially. I don't know if they're gonna put them in a dungeon. They might make it like a once a day thing, and you get a random golem.
I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind a golem, almost like a parade dungeon, except you use 1 key for 1 golem.
Yeah. Awards you a golem mystery chest where it's just 1 random golem.
That would be good,
maybe give it like a chance at a greater golem.
That'd be really good, yeah.
That'd be great. So yeah, the Zell and Karma costs are basically irrelevant. Yeah. However, I'm going to balance that by saying that one thing that Recoome didn't really touch on is that this is not a boost to just the 2 units DBBs. This is a boost to that DBB level across all iterations of those units, across your entire account. It's not just those 2. So every Xenon that is bonded with any Estia will now be at bond level 2, 3, 4, etc.
Yeah.
So it's essentially unlocking it for everything if you wanted to run dupes.
It's pretty awesome in the case of things like Sovenar. Because you can I mean, bear with me here, but you can have a Sovenar UBB and put another Sovenar into overdrive if you have the spam for it, especially with things like Vrana's, Crusader, Vesper, and then use Serenthus SBBs for revives if need be.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
I was thinking more along the lines of, like, you can't bond Sovenar to like more than 1 Sovenar to 1 Serenthus.
Yeah.
Like the big gating factor for that
yeah.
You have 1 unit to bond with and then you're stuck.
True.
So in that case you really are just bonding it to just the Serenthus and whatever Sovenar you bond it to.
Yeah, that's true.
But in the case of something where both of the pieces are summonable, then you start to get meme levels of how many units you can bond. And you
Yeah.
don't have to pay it twice, you just get it once, and the golems are spent, and then you never have to deal with it again, which is, in its own right, pretty good.
This pleases me because I have 2 Vrana. Go buy a
Another
second
thing,
Durham.
yes, another thing to note is that DBB skills that already have a turn duration of 5 turns or more do not get any turn increment bonus.
Mm-hmm.
And in addition, I don't think recast buffs get
Yeah.
a turn boost either.
And neither
Though
do extra action.
I am going to mention this. The turn duration boost for the DBB buffs isn't really relevant in a majority of content because, as Recoome said, it's most likely going to die before usage out of it. Mm-hmm. But in Dichroma, where it reduces your buff duration by 2 turns, that means that you essentially get 2 turns out of the DBB, which is another turn of the DBB buffs, which means you can wail on it even harder than you did before.
Yeah.
So you could potentially use DBB as sort of a damage strat. Mm-hmm. Though I'm not, again, you'd have to get probably beyond turn 10 to do that. And the DBB you'd probably be using to get there is using SD UBB, or using Xenon and SD DBB to try and get you there.
Unfortunately, the only content that we really have to compare the viability of DBB in right now is Dichroma, because everything else just sort of crumples and dies. Yeah. You could theoretically test out a Vrana DBB in, or Tavarius DBB in Drowning Darkness, but again, I mean, I tore through Sorrenthus so fast that, I mean, I didn't even think about the fact that DBB was there because it was so easy. One thing that I feel like we're going to see is, as DBB becomes more prevalent and the power creep increases via DBB and golems become more common, people are doing more bonds, which Gumi can see, we're going to see content scaled to the existence of DBB. Which means that though we don't have a chance to test, for example, a specific DBB at the moment, we may in the future receive a Rift or a Dichroma 2 Electric Boogaloo in which we can test out our new DBBs or our current DBBs that don't seem too viable.
Yeah. I think that it won't scale like ridiculously well, at least at first, because they tried to scale things to normal hit count nuking, and like nothing worked until they went way overkill, and everyone complained about it.
Yeah.
So I think that it's going to take a little while for them to ramp it up to the point where that would be like a concern.
Definitely.
Right now, DBB, nothing really counters it. Though I know that Recoome hasn't played this part of the game yet, so he probably hasn't seen this. But I know that the Sovenar in episode 9 of the GQ prevents you from passively generating synergy crystals. Like that's just a thing that she does. So you have to generate them via bonded units being in overdrive and using UBBs, which is, again, perfectly achievable in that fight. She does have a little bit of overdrive drain, but not so much that it's like
not beta levels.
It's not Revenant levels of literally screw your overdrive gauge.
Yeah,
but it's there.
Thanks for exposing my slacking on the Grand Quest in front of everyone.
Oh, no problem. I can do it again.
It's okay. It's alright. I'll pass. Next point that we can move on to, I mean, they give us a how to boost bond level, but I feel like that's something that I guess you can look up on your own time. More so, the thing that I'm concerned about is talking about the evolution of the golems. But, sorry, what were you saying?
I feel like I did explain that. The evolution of the golems is the one thing I explained. In order to evolve the golems to their greater forms, you need the 2 of whatever the elemental golem is, plus a distilled ether, which was formerly used in the crafting recipe of like the essence orbs. Now, for those of us who have played Guild Raid for a while and have just bought out all of the premium chests from the Guild Bazaar,
So many.
whenever they refresh, we're sitting on a good nest egg of 30, maybe higher, distilled ethers. So I checked my inventory before this, and I have 37 of these. So I don't think that's the issue. As I said, the golems are going to be an issue for right now.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to see a lot more content releasing golems as rewards, because that's what's going to catch people from now on.
Yeah.
Until they make it super available to us, like the Omni Frog situation, people are going to want to drop everything to get these golems.
Yeah.
I'd also like to worth noting that I think, unless I'm reading that wrong, I am reading that wrong. I thought that said the karma cost was 50k, which would be whoever's running this.
That is 50k.
That is 50k?
That's 50k.
Whoever's running this has cash.
It's 100,000 Zell cost and 50,000 karma.
Hacks.
It's a joke.
Hacks.
Yeah, definitely.
Gumi, please.
Gumi, what are you doing? Give me a use for my 500 million karma, please.
I'm pretty sure that we barely have enough light golems to reach that 10 anyway. Also, this person 92 distilled ether.
Yeah, okay. This is the same scenario as that one guy who,
I feel like we're nitpicking this screenshot too much, but I just find it fascinating.
I mean, the stuff that Gumi releases for stuff like this is kind of entertaining. Like the time when they went into Dichroma and fought something named Dichroma, and then one-shot it with a Xenon DBB.
I
don't
even know how we were expected to take that.
I have no idea. But other than that,
the point is that Gumi's promotional material is usually weird.
Yeah.
But I will say, if you scroll up a little bit, the greater elemental golems look cute as heck.
Oh yeah, they got little feet now.
I want all of them.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to keep one of each and put them up as my leaders. Just kidding.
Yes, that's going to be my leader from now on. I'm going to give it Bravest Blade, and you guys can just deal.
I am interested in the premium Prism mystery chest that they talk about, in which distilled ether will be more available. On top of that, I wonder if golems will be in there.
They say there's a chance to harvest it from RC7 Dichroma.
Yay.
Which I will further add to just do Dichroma, guys. Just do it. Can you evolve the evolved golems to geodes? I don't think you would want to do that. I really think that's a bad idea. I think the 6, especially since the geodes are infinitely cheaper than even the base golems, you would not want to do that.
Yep.
But I guess you could, or I guess if Gumi gives us the option to do that, I think
it would be interesting.
It might. I don't really want them to do that, because then there's going to be people like, I'm mass evolving things, now I have all these geodes, what are they? And then I'm just like, first of all, how did you get light golem? Second of all, how did you even end up in this situation? Third of all, why?
Yep.
This also makes me wonder, because DBB levels are going to go beyond level 4. And there is going to be a point where these greater golems are going to become greater golems.
Greater golems.
Yeah, whatever. It's going to be something bigger than what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, is the second evolved material just going to become more distilled ethers, or are we going to get hyper distilled ether?
Extra distilled ether. At that point, is it just like brewed beer? I mean, come on, you can't distill it any further. I'm sorry.
Greatest golem works. I would be okay with that.
Yeah.
I would also be okay with ultra golem.
True.
I would be okay with a lot of things. I just want them to do something with it.
That's right.
But again, I'm glad they didn't try and push that out now, because again, no one's going to be able to do that. No one can actually get anything to bond level 10 right now if this is the system they're using.
Yeah.
In fact, barely any people can get things to bond level 4. with how they've got this set up.
Very true. Is that all you wanted to cover for the new dual Brave Burst things? I mean, there's nothing really impressive to cover other than that. Congratulations, you're getting Orby, Shards, Karma, and Zell. Like, great. Other than that, I don't think there's anything to cover.
I think that's about everything.
Mm-hmm. We can move on then to the new DBB and the bonding aspects and stuff like that we were talking about.
I feel like we should start by briefly going over the DBBs that we covered before and just explaining not necessarily how they're changed, because they really aren't, but how they can benefit from being in bond level 4, if that is, because we're going to have to talk about this in terms of bond level 4, because that's when the SBB becomes available and when you get the energy cost decrease.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay. Do you just want to start at the top with Xenon and Estia?
Of course.
All right.
Xenon and Estia, I feel like these guys are once again sort of self-explanatory. You're going to be probably running Estia for this, unless you're running Xenon, Dark, and Dichroma for some reason, because again, that's the only piece of content you can actually use this against at the moment. Because for some elements, this hard content just straight up doesn't exist at the moment that you would want to DBB against.
Yeah.
Estia, DBB, and UBB have always been extremely helpful for one thing in particular, and that is cleansing Black Death.
Yeah.
You can just straight up remove Black Death entirely, because I figured out that the DOT that Fury inflicts doesn't like pierce DOT mitigation. He just passively reduces all DOT mitigation buffs by 5 turns, which effectively means you just can't mitigate DOT against him.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to cleanse it via something like Estia, UBB, or DBB. I still don't feel like you'd want to go for Estia's DBB necessarily, especially in light, where you would want to use something like Sero, Qtong, DBB, or, as we'll get to later, Vanilla DBB.
Yeah. An interesting one.
And, of course, a future Aurelia DBB, which we have the images in the day.
I believe it's Aurelia Ultor.
Yeah.
Which, during last night, I know that there were a lot of images added to the database. I myself personally didn't find them, but other members of the community did, and I saw them. And we have confirmation in terms of being able to see their, that extra bolded barrier, or not barrier, border around them. Thank you. For Aurelia and Ultor, as well as Kerace and Katerin, and I believe there was one more, but I cannot remember what it was. It might have been Tridon, but not quite sure.
Yeah, I can't recall that off the top of my head, so I'm not even going to speak to that.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not sure where they're going to go with the elemental synergy with this. I'm going to laugh in happiness if it raises max HP limit, because just at base this goes to 120k.
150k. Oh my God.
If this boosts it to 150k, I'm going to be pleased. I want to see some ridiculous HP values. It's funny.
Is it Corzan that gives himself like some crazy HP buffs?
Yeah, you wouldn't be using Corzan to squad with Xenon and Estia.
But what I'm wondering is there any other units that give similar HP buffs that you could hit that 150k cap?
You wouldn't need to.
That? I'm just curious if it's possible.
It's possible to get a unit to the 150k cap. I know Aromat can do it.
True, his base HP is insane. Yeah, I'd like to see that. More to come.
Please.
Yep.
I'm interested to see how this elemental synergy evolves. Not so much for the other ones, but we'll see. Then we've got Azurai and Corzan. Oh, I forgot to cover what benefits you get from using SBB with them. Estia gets the ability to be... No, Estia doesn't get the ability to do anything, because you can't use Xenon's overdrive fill if you'd already be in overdrive.
Great.
Okay. And Xenon gets the ability to temporarily become a burst healer, which is alright.
Yeah, I mean,
I
it's not
think
bad.
I think he would also give heal over time in that scenario, and
Uh,
he would still mitigate with that. I guess it's a good stopgap
yeah,
if you have
I
him.
wouldn't mind that. I guess if you're not firing his UBB.
Yeah, and then his UBB would just fill.
Again,
Uh,
the kind of the viability issues that you run into in terms of firing these DBBs is why are you waiting until the next turn? You know, why are you using the bonded units SBB? It would be a very niche scenario, but it's obviously still possible.
I mean, if you're not zero BCing, then you
Yeah.
would of course burn a turn, unless you're using like meme like insta fill strats, which some teams do.
Chizuru.
Cheeseroos can do it. Cheeseroos can do just about anything.
Chizurus can more than do it. They'll gladly do it with no effort given.
Yep.
Um,
Then you've got Corzan and Azurai, who probably again are still the least significant of these
yeah.
in terms of a. There is no Earth content that I would want to use this against. The hardest Earth content I searched it up, besides that is available right now, is trees
Mm-hmm.
in Essence of Time, I think it was, and you would not want to wait to get this DBB off against trees. You would just want to kill it.
Yeah,
And
fire
you
doesn't
would
have the
kill
OD
it
gauge spam for
fast.
that. At least not super
Run
easily.
Balefur.
Yeah, congratulations. You know, good luck running 3 Balefur on your team so you can fire a Corzan DBB.
Joyous.
Why?
What
Just
would that
why?
team even look like? 3 Balefur, a Corzan, and then what? I guess you'd be stuck with.
Like in a net or something, mitigator. It's
Yeah,
fallen.
that's excellent. And that would have to be your lead because Balefur can't lead and Corzan certainly can't.
Oh god.
We're going off the rails here. For
Yeah.
Ellie also, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh god.
this is basically Gumi's excuse to give us garbage on the the DBB gate.
True.
Um,
I was thinking that the other
again,
day. This is just their excuse for filler on that gate. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, this is again probably the most useless of them. Like I don't feel like they get too much benefit from 6 energy shards because I still would not waste the time required to get to this.
Yeah.
And even then, like even if you bump the 2% max HP percent DOT, this does to 5% against what Earth enemy?
Yeah, like
Again,
why?
yeah. Then we move on back into the realm of viability again, like we said before
Mm-hmm.
in video one. We got Serenthus and Sovenar, who are unfortunately locked to only being able to do this once
Mm-hmm.
because of there being only one Serenthus. But
Yeah.
I guess that's the price you pay when you have it bound to a free unit.
Mm-hmm.
It's better than having these be completely pay to win,
Yeah, I
which I
agree.
respect.
Thematic as well. I like that all of these are thematic to an extent.
This one probably gets the one of the bigger bonuses from having it the turn increase
Mm-hmm.
because you get all of these buffs for one extra turn. But again, like water has no issue killing whatever enters its path.
Yeah.
I feel like there aren't too many fire bosses that I would want to use this against, though. To give Gumi credit, the Beta Guardian in Fire RC7 has like very rarely managed to stall me out long enough to where I've been able to launch the DBB.
Yeah.
At which point, it crumples. So
Yeah.
I guess you could do that if you're having trouble against Beta.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, yeah, makes sense. It's not
And
great,
again,
but
like
I mean,
synergy
I
doesn't really
personally just stomp it, but other people might have trouble.
yeah. I feel like the synergy doesn't really get a huge upgrade from this as it's the
Mm-mm.
DOT again,
Yeah,
which again
it
against
depends on the
what?
size too, but not for water.
Yeah, and then as far as bonded SBB is concerned, we have Serenthus using a weaker version of Sovenar SBB because I do not believe that Sovenar's SBB has the 3 hits at base.
It doesn't. It's
It's
on our extra skill.
yeah, so it's only going to be 2 hits.
Yeah.
And although that is going to give you like BB mod and whatever else Sovenar's SBB at base, because I can't really, I've completely forgotten
Mm-hmm.
what Sovinar's SPB does at base because I'm so used to seeing it with SP and extra skill and all these other things on it.
Yeah.
And as far as Sovinar using Cerinthus SPB, that's going to give you more mitigation. That's going to give you some chances at revives, as Recoome said.
Mm-hmm. Viable if you're
really
having trouble surviving, otherwise not really.
I'm not sure if... I mean, water does have content it can die against, I guess. I guess all of these have squads that they can die against, but I can't see myself going into overdrive with the Sovinar and then deliberately trying to burn Sovinar SVB on revives. I think at that point I would just use Florence.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel, but maybe that's me just saying that because I do have Florence.
Yeah.
So maybe it's because I have that option that I'm considering that. But.
The hardest mono water content is Drowning Darkness. Tell that to Ilyes.
He beat the entire thing
with
mono water. I'm
still insane.
Dumbfounded as to crit damage in BB mod. Someone says. I guess that's what's on Sovinar SBB. So I guess if your water lacks a crit buffer and you're for whatever reason running Cerinthus without also running Sovinar.
Yeah.
Why? Why would you be running?
But why? Why would you do that?
What? Like that's the thing is that I think that the reason that Cerinthus doesn't get too much out of this exchange is that for Cerinthus to use bonded SBB, you need to have a Sovinar. And at the point at which you have a Sovinar and you're running mono, why are you not running Sovinar? Why are you relying on Cerinthus bonded SBB for that?
Yeah.
If you don't have a Sovinar, you can't bond Cerinthus in the first place, so you can't even use Cerinthus's bonded SBB. So it's a moot point.
Mm-hmm.
It's a moot point all around.
Cerinthus really got shafted in this whole ordeal, but Sovinar got some nice utility just in case she needs it.
I feel like most of the free units got shafted in this.
Speaking
of free units that got shafted by this, here's Elena and Nia.
Oh yeah.
Things to note is that a majority of these buffs do get boosted by this, with the exception of the recast effect, which has been dubiously reduced to 1 turn on this DBB, though it isn't listed here. So it won't be risen above 1 turn, the recast. But fortunately, there is no content that really reduces the duration of recast buff, so you should be good in that regard.
Mm-hmm. Actually, hold on. Keep going, but I'm just going to check something real quick. I think that... Okay. I thought that in the diary, or I guess they call it a diary or a blog or whatever, they said that not that it wouldn't increase, but that it wouldn't increase past 3 turns.
It won't increase past 5.
No, past 3 turns for recast.
I thought recast was okay. It won't increase past 3 turns for recast. If that's what it is, then this does get a 1 turn boost. To which I say to Gumi, you intentionally nerfed this to instigate raising the bond level so that we could raise it to the level that Elena UBB has. That's kind of scummy.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say on that subject in terms of that.
Yeah.
Again, like Nia's SBB, I don't really remember what it does in detail. I'll look it up.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that Elena's getting anything super huge. Oh,
enormously boosts Earth damage, or Earth Elemental Weakness damage is one thing.
Elena gets to boost her own spark damage.
Ooh.
Because Elena was totally nuking.
Oh, yeah.
This.
If for some reason you have no other EWD buffer, her Elena's BSBV would give Earth EWD.
Like, the question I'm going to ask repeatedly in terms of the bonded SBBs, especially when a majority of it is tied to SP or extra skills like this, is if you're running a unit's bonded SBB seriously, then why are you not running the other unit in conjunction with it? And in this case, it's sort of justified in the sense that you do get to boost Elena's, like, a 120% boost to her own spark damage.
Yeah.
Okay. That doesn't really matter much for Elena, but for other units it might. I know that for Gazelle down near the bottom of this list, it absolutely matters that she gets the self-spark buff that Kranis gets from his SBB.
Yeah.
That is a significant buff. But
Qtong gets revive chance, I believe.
Yes.
If she's not 0 BC, which is... But we can get to that.
Qtong gets her enhanced revive.
Yeah. Which is still great, because originally Qtong had nothing, so...
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you're going to be 0 BC in Qtong a lot, so...
Also, Chizurus.
Yeah.
But hey, other revive chances are always good.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I have been failed many times by Chizuru BB.
Yep. And as just a final send-off, I'll say that the SBB that Nia gains from Elena is just as useless as it was on Elena's kit, especially since you now can't even use it for overdrive fill because you would be in overdrive.
Yep.
So you would just be kind of shooting yourself in the foot.
Great.
Allow you to do something on off turns. And the synergy is another one of the DOTs, so it's not going to do anything much either. Because again, it's like max HP % damage to Thunder foes. What Thunder foe? Dragar? You're going to use this against Dragar. I'm pretty sure we nuke Dragar.
I take issue with the way that they phrased this. Additional max HP % damage of Thunder foes at turn's end. Just sounds strange.
I initially thought it was max HP as in whatever the unit's max HP was, and I was close to right. In reality, it's just taking like a set chunk. Does a no mitigator setup worth for mono water? I would say no. I would say that while you could do that, that it would be counterintuitive and may even be shooting yourself in the foot, because mono water really benefits from having Veil. I think that not running Veil to do this is kind of pointless.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
And yeah, again, that synergy bonus for Nia and Elena isn't super relevant.
It hasn't been so far. Next up, we cover Wang and Tavarius.
That you could actually get a chance to use.
Yeah, I mean, these are more useful than a lot of the others. The BBB and the BSBB.
And this is because you actually have a piece of content to use them against. This has nothing to do with... If we're talking about the viability, then Sovinar DBB beats a majority of these out of the water. It's just a matter of what you have content to use it against.
Yeah.
And these guys actually have something to use it against. These guys have Sovinar in episode 9, who actually does last long enough, and that fight encourages UBB spam enough to where you could probably get this thing off.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what she does if you get it off, because that's not personally the strategy I used. But this is just something worth noting. I will also say that a majority, I think this is the first DBB that we have covered. No, Corzan DBB did this too, where all of it is affected by the turn increase. There's no buff that gets left out here. All of them are getting boosted from 3 turns to 4 turn duration.
Yeah.
How much that matters is entirely up to you.
Fully restores HP for 4 turns is nice. It's not essential, but it's nice.
Yeah, I guess if people are still struggling with Wave Shaker DOT.
Why?
Again, how would you stall that fight out long enough when you're running Nan to Various to pull this BB against it? But
just Golem.
As far as what these units get from each other, I think this is going to be another sort of lackluster showing in terms of what Nan gets from Tavarius. Tavarius SVB isn't exactly like King of the Hill scenario. It's not the best. Majority of the time I just find myself spamming Tavarius BB and UBB. But getting Nan's SBB for Tavarius can be rather large, because what you can do is essentially run Thunder without a crit buffer.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do that really easily. Now, you wouldn't want to do that, because now Vrana exists.
Yeah.
But if you, for whatever reason, did not want to run Nan, but still wanted a crit buffer on your team, you could use Tavarius BSBB for that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, and Tavarius does have enough UBB spam potential to where you could get off a pretty consistent loop to get him back there to use another crit buff.
Yeah.
Of course, if you're using Phineas to nuke, you just don't care.
True. I feel like that pretty much sums that one up. You know, the synergy improvement, again, not very useful. DOT, meh. I mean, the only viability that I see is that, oh, you know, you're fighting in the future a water boss. Well, maybe, like, does the DOT apply to Serenthus, theoretically, in Drowning Darkness? Like, I guess there's a tiny bit there, if you're really having trouble.
Hit Serenthus with DOT, and that would get around his 100% mitigation that he throws on himself, because he doesn't give himself 100% DOT mitigation.
It's tiny, but it's it's there. So
it should also hit Sovenar as well, although I'm not sure on that, because Sovenar does a lot in her fight to decrease passive DBB crystal generation, which means that the fight was built with DBB in mind.
Yeah.
Though it never requires you to use it. So I think that in that fight specifically, you might be able to. She might do something to try and remove the DOT from herself, or otherwise try and counter your effects. But I'm not certain on that, so don't take anything I just said as gospel. What she could, for all I know, just the DBB with absolute shock and then buff wipe herself.
Yeah.
Which would be hilarious. But I don't know that. So if anyone would like to confirm that in the stream chat, that is, you're more than okay with that. And yeah, that's the same Vrana and Durum DBB, but we'll get to them because they're new.
Next up is Qtong and Sero Anya DBB. We already covered a lot of the main part, but
they love that cost decrease. They love being able to activate all of these effects for an additional turn, because now instead of just having it boosted down to 1 turn in Dichroma, it's 2 turns, which means you can actually, sort of deal more damage to the fight.
Yeah.
I'd say that if any DBB warranted spending all of those golems right this second,
it's this one.
It's this one. This is the one that you would want to get that extra turn duration for sure. You would want to get that synergy crystal off. You would want to get at least the turn duration reduction. The other things are sort of blasé, but having these last an extra turn is humongous.
Yeah. Another thing that I'll mention is, I know we already went over it, but those SBB buffs, specifically from Sero Anya to Qtong, are absolutely enormous. If you, for some reason, don't have a 0 BC Qtong, which, I've made the mistake of moving around the wrong spheres and going into the Dichroma before, she will appreciate the ability to have that tiny extra revive chance to stack on top of what you're getting from your, assuming you have Chizaru's already. On the other hand, I don't know if Sero Anya without SP or with SP boosts light elemental damage on SBB, but if she doesn't, she now can.
Yes, she can from SP boost light elemental damage.
If you don't have that SP, she now can. Great.
Yeah, I guess you could do that.
Yeah.
I guess that Qtong, while in SPB, assuming you didn't initially go straight for the UBB there, can now act as a budget reviver, and I guess can also enormously boost spark damage, but I don't think is really struggling with spark damage buffs.
Yeah, I agree. There's not a whole ton of viability in Qtong to Sero Anya, but Sero Anya applied to Qtong is pretty solid.
Yeah, I agree.
Next up, again, and the synergy's the same thing, but the synergy's a nice tiny little bonus for Fury when you're smacking him. So that improvement will be, pretty good if you're in light phase and you just need to whittle them down. Your dark team's, not pulling their weight as expected. So you hit them with the DOT and it might help a little bit more when you improve it.
I'm looking at this DBB, and now that it's got an extra turn duration on it, this might actually be a good option if you were planning to nuke Dichroma while it was light for some reason.
Oh, yeah?
This is Samira and Beatrix, by the way. Because they boost they boost like the Holy Trinity, they boost crit, they boost spark, they boost dark elemental damage. They have some recast. It raises from KO, it boosts attack, but not the others. You could get some usage out of this now, besides it just being a one turn, just kind of, I'm going to meme Chroma. But against anything else, I don't see you getting this off. I think that the end will probably die long before that, though maybe it won't. Because if you're running Samira or if you're running Beatrix, and definitely if you're running Samira, maybe your Dark isn't like so amazing that it can nuke whatever you're fighting down. In which case, this would be a good way to end the fight very quickly.
Yeah, for sure.
Though the question is, does this self-spark? Because some of them do, and some of them don't, and I don't understand.
Absolutely. Well, all that will tell is further testing, and if either of us do decide to do further testing, we can report back in a future video.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind doing a video showing off some of these different, more viable DBBs. If you guys are interested in that, let me know in stream chat or in the comments of this video.
Yep. And I guess Samira gets... Does Samira already have the ability to revive? I feel like she doesn't. I feel like Samira does not have the ability to revive at base. She does not.
So okay, well there you go.
Wait, no. Yes, she does.
Oh, does she? Okay.
On BB only.
Okay.
So I guess this allows her to act as a reviver when in overdrive, but at that point you could just UBB and then get 80% revive chance.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, well, whatever.
Then Beatrix is getting too much from Samira Actually, if that consecutive uses boost damage thing does work, what the do they expect us to be SBB Beatrix for 3 turns and then delay UB?
Oh God.
I guarantee you, that's not what people are going to be doing with that.
Why would you do that?
Why? All right. And I guess it does give Beatrix a random target attack if you care.
Yeah.
If you care. Then we move on to Juno and Ensa, who their DBB doesn't get a huge buff from this because it was already kind of lackluster to begin with, especially because of the 2 units basing it. It allows Juno to become a discount like Spark and BB mod buffer for light, as if they needed that. And it allows Ensa to become a discount mitigator for Dark, as if they needed that.
Yeah.
I think Dark will not be trying to use Juno's BSBB or Ensa's BSBB to attempt to revive. Oh, hey, CC.
Hey. So, I mean, this one doesn't have a lot of viability both in terms of BSBBs and DBBs, and I don't even run Ensa or Juno anyway. I'd actually rather run Hadaron over Ensa because Ensa is such a squishy... I hate it. She dies so often.
I agree.
And so, I mean, again, you get that... Their synergy increase is like, okay... is this Gumi's mediocre attempt at buffing recovery? Because boost max HP relative to recovery does not impress me.
Yeah.
Rahotep is not impressed at all.
Actually, boost max HP recover relative to recovery for most units. That's pretty substantial.
Yeah, but why would you be using Ensa and Juno DBB to boost their max HP relative to recovery? And
you wouldn't. But Xenon and Estia have that same effect.
That's viable. I see what you mean.
I wouldn't use Juno and Insa for,
But yeah,
but
you
I
could
would
use Xenon Estia.
I'd be willing to bulk up some Wreck in order to pull off this.
Yeah, you could hit that 150k cap and it would be disgusting.
I will say, I wonder how this works. Because it's boosting max HP relative to recovery. Is it talking about your recovery in that moment, or is it talking about a scaling boost to your max HP relative to your recovery at any given moment? Because one of those can be made ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the other can't as much.
Go in with
Regardless,
huge. You go in with Ochako, like an LS like Ochako that gives 200% boost to recovery, and just slam into that HP cap.
Hit it as hard as you can, and then boost the HP cap.
Oh yeah.
Recovers, so it's directly whatever it is at that moment. So if you're like under Estia UBB, where she's got her Wreck debuff on herself, then she won't gain as much HP, as if that matters, because I'm pretty sure you just would not die.
Good God. Okay, well that pretty much sums up Juno Ensa.
Yeah.
Next up is one that does get a nice buff from the BSBB. Gazelle Kranis.
And Kranis. Of course, this DBB gets numerous bonuses that would love being one turn longer.
Yeah.
I think that we don't really need to go into why this DBB lasting longer would be a good thing.
It's pretty straightforward.
Miasma apparently is a 50% healing debuff to the enemy, so maybe that'll be 75% now.
Are they trying to make hit and run viable for Fury? I'm confused. There's no use for this. Yeah, me neither.
That's like cutting 30% to 15%, and now the bonus they're giving me is that now I can put it down to 8%. I still would not want to heal Fury 8%.
I just like to pretend that Fury doesn't exist until the moment it's 1 a.m. on a Saturday, so...
Yeah. I believe you.
Now, Gazelle gets a nice buff from Kranis SBB.
Yes.
She likes that self-spark.
She does. She very much appreciates having a 150% spark buff to self.
Yeah.
As far as what Kranis gets from Gazelle...
Statuses, I guess?
Can purge sickness negation.
Yay!
You can add a water element. Will totally be useful for dark and isn't at all.
That's incredible.
You get evasion, which I guess might be useful, and you get to boost the attack, defense, and recovery of water types for 3 turns in your mono dark.
Kranis loves that. Acno on Kranis' team is a huge fan.
Acno loves getting buffs to water.
That's right.
Just the best.
Oh, absolutely. Miasma, no matter how much you buff it, it's still shit. Sorry, Gumi. Do better. Next up, we have one of my favorites.
We got the new ones. We're going into the new territory.
These are the 2 newest ones. So we got Vrana, who is, I hope I'm saying that right, who is the new Thunder raid lead, who is, first of all, as a unit, fucking phenomenal. I mean, a top tier Thunder unit. Not Deku level, but actually does help with Deku strats, because she does add ailments to UBB, like Mordred, with a 50% overdrive gauge boost, spark damage, and elemental weakness damage. It's absurd, but she bonds with Durham, as is thematic with the Oribus lore, as is seen in the battle log if you go through. Hopefully, by the way, we will be doing a future episode on Oribus lore.
Oh boy.
But there are some interesting things in this DBB, in my opinion, that make me question what this DBB would be used for, I guess. Damage, yeah, but I don't know how I feel about adding damage taken boosts BB gauge and restores HP. I feel like that would be much better if you just added recast on there, because, Vrana would benefit from that.
Vrana doesn't have recast.
Yeah, but she would benefit from that in terms of her UBB and whatnot.
Yeah. I mean, we give her Master of the Hunt, so she basically has recap.
Yeah, she might as well. Just perma Master of the Hunt her.
We'll get to Vanilla. I'm disappointed about Bond as well, but I'm not disappointed that it isn't Liko. I haven't really discussed this with Recoome as to who I think Vanilla's Bond should have been, but we'll get.
Okay.
So as far as these two are concerned, I'm just going to go ahead and quickly mention that even if you don't care about Vrana, even if you skipped her entirely, get her sphere.
Oh my god, her sphere.
Even if you do not give a single shit about what Vrana does, get her sphere.
Yeah.
Because her sphere is a stackable version of Vesper and Zeta, which means you can get even more drive fill on units.
Aromat actually goes nuts for this sphere.
Yeah, you want Vrana's call. As far as what this DBB does, it's got 50% overdrive gauge buff, boosts Thunder elemental damage, which is nice because that stacks with UBB buffs Thunder would like. Critical damage, which I feel like if you're using Durum or Vrana, regardless of which one you're using, you're going to be capping before you even use this DBB. So I don't really see a situation in which I would be this crit buff. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're just cutting out a little bit there. You good?
Should I repeat everything I just said?
No, you're good. You're good. It was just a tiny bit of ends of sentences. We caught it.
Okay. Adds status element infliction to attack, which is nice, though I don't really see myself bouncing this off Deku's.
Yeah.
I guess work, but I think I would already have UBB buffs up before that and not need to waste time getting a DBB in order to accomplish that.
Yeah.
And then it's got damage taken, boost BB gauge, and restores HP. And to my knowledge, is 100% damage restores HP, similar to what
I didn't know that.
And that's also like 50 BC on hit.
I did not know that. That's actually not bad if you get it off. Nice BB support and nice healing. Goddamn. I stand corrected.
To my knowledge. I don't really remember, like, I guess I could go through their UBBs real quick because I honestly have forgotten. I think it's Durum that's providing those buffs. Let me look at Durum real quick.
Yeah.
Durum recovers 100% of damage taken and fills 50 BC on hit. So that's where those buffs are coming from.
Yeah, that's solid.
That's super solid.
Yeah, I mean that's great BB support and great heals.
That's not like guaranteed SBB for all your units. And then if it doesn't kill you, it only makes you stronger.
True. Yeah, I like it.
Plasma is still
same old.
Really used against Sovenar and maybe Serenthus. I feel like, let me look at Vrana real quick because I know that Durum isn't really offering much. It gives Durum the ability to stealth and boost crit damage more than her own buffs and purge sickness negation, but at the point at which you're running Durum in a squad and have a Vrana, you're gonna just want to run Vrana.
Yeah, essentially.
Which leads to the question of what does Vrana get from Durum? And I think that the only thing that she gets is BB on hit. And that's not enough. I would not be using this just to get BB on hit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, same.
It's no. I would not do that.
Yeah.
But
I feel like that covers it.
Yeah.
Next we can move on to the newest one.
And I'm going to briefly mention what I said before.
Yeah, please do.
I don't think that this bond makes any sense because Inoko's lore is so far unrelated to Vanilla's that it's not even funny. To my knowledge, Inoko is even a character from the game that Vanilla originally came from, which if you don't know is Puzzle Troopers. You know who is a character from Puzzle Troopers who they outright mention?
Who?
isn't a unit yet who would have been perfect as Vanilla's DBB partner?
Who?
Rika, her twin sister, who she even mentions in Omni lore.
What? Are you
Yeah.
serious?
Yeah?
You gave a DBB to an unrelated character when she has a twin. What the fuck?
She has a twin. It's not a unit yet. They haven't made it a unit, even though that very thematically fitting, and it's from the game that Vanilla is from, even though RIP Puzzle Troopers. So I guess no one would really care.
Yeah, I
But
guess
I
so.
care. I care because I don't know why Vanilla has anything to do with an anthropomorphic human boar.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Ugh. Okay. While we're on the topic of an anthropomorphic human boar, if you're watching this video and the Inoko gate is up, go pull on it. She's a great nuker.
She is a great nuker.
Yeah, she's like a mini Bakugo.
Details because whoever's edited this page has her set as TBA, so
Awesome.
I guess that'll fix later.
Yeah.
Their DBB is Tristat, crit rate, crit damage. I wouldn't be using this for the crit damage. Vanilla, though I might use spark damage, max HP, 100% evasion for 3 turns base, though I guess that would be buffed to 4 turns, which is great. I guess we point.
Hold on there. Give me 1 sec, Faf. You're cutting out a bit. I'm just going to leave the call and rejoin. That usually fixes it.
Okay.
Alright, sorry about that. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll start from the beginning of the DBB.
That'd be great.
Tristat, crit rate, crit damage, though again, if I was using Vanilla, I probably crit damage, but if I was using Inoko, maybe, but then again, Fire, crit it, so probably still not. Spark damage, which is nice regardless of element. Max HP boost, I think that's 40%, maybe 45%. 100% evasion, which is great, especially since it would be 4 turns under like a boosted. Fully restores HP, damage taken, boost BB gauge, which I think adds status affliction to attack, which I don't think anything in light or fire would really die over, but I think that it would be useful.
Yeah.
Will say that their synergy is new. It's Nova, which has a chance to purge and negate lock effects. Now, to my understanding, this is a 25% chance at base. I'm willing to bet that Bond level 4 would buff this to 50%, and then maybe max Bond level would make it guaranteed.
That'd be nice.
And this would also make it last longer if it does lock.
Yeah.
This I can see getting used in Dichroma because you effectively prevent Fury from ever inflicting you with leader skill, extra skill, and sphere locks. And while that doesn't prevent him from like your mitigation, it does prevent him from like randomly kicking your damage to the curb, which some players might find incredibly useful.
Very true.
So then again, I think that the meta is not going on Vanilla doing this, though. I think the meta DBB for that is still going to be Cero and Q-Tone, but I felt the need to bring it up.
For sure.
And of course, Fire doesn't care. Fire doesn't need to purge and negate lock effects because everything will be dead.
Yeah, pretty much.
Long before you get the chance to do that.
Yep. That's it. That's all of them.
I feel like we at last need to go over what Vanilla gets from Inoko and what Inoko gets from Vanilla.
True, forgot about the DSBB.
Let's start with what Inoko gets from Vanilla, because that's the ordering that this is set in. Because of how Vanilla's SBB works, she, unfortunately, Inoko does not get a triple attack. She does get the ability to boost critical damage and spark damage, but it's a 120% crit damage buff, and Fire is going to overwrite the hell out of it. Though the spark buff is fine. Can you hear me all right? Yeah, okay. It also greatly boosts BC, HC, and item drop rates for 3 turns. I feel if you're in overdrive, that's not going to be incredibly relevant, though I
Yeah.
guess if you're hinging your entire strategy off the sick heart crystal drop rates instead of like something consistent, then this could be useful.
Yeah, I guess.
Got to get that 40% HC drop rate. I need to look at what Inoko does.
Mm-hmm.
Inoko does not show up in the search results on the wiki just yet, which I find. I will find it eventually, but you might have to give me a second. Also, they're saying that I'm cutting out occasionally.
I know, I can't fix it right now.
Okay.
It's just, I think it's either your mic or your ping.
Okay. As far as BB, SBB, this does give Vanilla the ability to give her allies recast from the bonded Brave Burst. And I guess it also gives her the ability to have BB on hit. I feel like she gets a lot more out of the SBB, even though a majority, because she's going to love giving that hugely boost attack, defense, recovery, and enormously crit rate of fire types. It's going to be joyous for Vanilla to have. But no, I think that she is going to care about inflicting critical and elemental. She is going to, and that's it. Actually, I just realized that's 70 critical damage of fire types.
Great.
So that's completely irrelevant.
Yep.
But yeah, I feel like these two pretty much benefit about the same from each other. I feel like Vanilla can now give recast in case you need to compete with Chizuru for that.
I feel like the newer and the more meta that the units get, the more useful we'll see the BSBBs being to each other.
I think that's pretty much the case already.
It also really depends on whether or not those units only function within their meta, I guess, because then you're just going to be like, oh, great. Inoko and Vanilla pass back and forth some pretty good buffs, but get Kranis and Giselle. Kranis does not want Giselle's water tri-stat, so...
Yeah.
It really depends.
And I also feel like it also counts that the element has something to actually use this DBB against. I mean, Corzan and Azurite DBB kind of takes itself, so it isn't a good example. But I can't think of anything that you're going to use Nia and Elena DBB against. I can't really think of any light boss, barring Dichroma, that lasts long enough to launch a dark DBB against it.
Yeah.
I can't really think of a fire boss that you would want to use any of the water DBBs against.
Yeah.
I can't think of an earth boss that I would go out of my way to use Inoko DBB against. And I can't think of a water boss that I would use Nan, Tavarius, or Durum Vrana DBB against, outside of Sovenar, and again, that might not even be necessary.
Yeah.
Things just die way too quick. And Sovenar deal like such an absurd amount of damage to where I'm like, I need to hinge the entirety of this fight off of me getting this DBB off. At best, it might speed things up for a few turns.
Yeah.
At worst, she just immediately buff wipes you, and then you're just like, well, what's the point?
Yeah, true. Any other closing comments?
Hashtag bring Rika to Brave Frontier.
Yeah, bring Rika and change this Inoko bullshit. Get it out of my fucking face. All right, thanks.
Please.
Other than that, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Thank you to our YouTube viewers for watching the video, and our stream viewers for watching and commenting along with us. We appreciate all the input. Free discussion down in the comments, as we always suggest. Please, go down there, tell us what we did right, what we did wrong, what you want to see, what could be better, and check the description for my shameless Patreon plug, because this shit's expensive. Thanks so much, guys.